Project 52ers, I've got something amazing for you today. I'm going to help you save some money if you're selling your own home. I have Daniel and Lisa here today. These guys are the co-founders of Your Hot Property, a business that was founded in 2011 after Daniel sold his own house and realised it wasn't that hard. And now they're helping people all over Australia sell their own houses. Welcome, Daniel and Lisa.
Hey Adele, how are you?
Hey Adele, thanks for having us.
Oh, welcome, a pleasure. And I believe you guys have, been around for 4 years now and sold $300 million worth of property, saving people $7 million in commission. Is that right?
It sounds like a big number when you say that, but yep, that's correct.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an exciting ride. We've certainly come a long way from when we started, that's for sure, and it gets better every time, we're saving people that commission. Puts a big smile on our face anyway.
Excellent. And that's what we love at Project 52, saving money so we can spend it on what matters. And
Absolutely.
how much do you think you save on average by people selling their property themselves? How much do you think people save?
Well, our average client saving is $15,317 when we sort of work it out. Obviously, we're a national company, so it definitely varies as far as the people we help sell. Anybody from properties even worth up to $100,000, up to I think our highest is about $4.5 million so far someone's sold using our system. So obviously the commission saved definitely varies, but about a bit over $15,000 seems about right.
Yeah, I think the most one of our clients has saved is about $80,000, and that was on the $4.5 million property, $80 grand.
80,000, you can have a lot of holidays with that. That's what I would do with 80,000.
Indeed.
And maybe in summer as well. Excellent. Well, I guess, why do you think more people don't sell their homes themselves?
I think, to be honest, a lot of people don't even know they can do it. They really don't. A lot of people I chat to who aren't in the circle, I guess, of people that we would generally talk to about using our service, when I let them know about, how we help people to sell their own homes and achieve just as great a result as working with a local agent, they're almost stunned that they're allowed to even do it. So yeah, being just the fact that they don't know they're allowed to do it, or that it is something that is actually common practice out in the marketplace, I think that's one of the big reasons.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that's passed down from generation to generation, is that when you sell a home, you do it with an agent. And now that we have access to so much data out there and the technology, that agents no longer can keep all this information locked away in a vault and tell people that you can't have these details, we've got them, and if you want them you have to use us. So I think slowly people are realising when they jump online at real estate, on Domain, and they can get these reports straight away sent to their email that tells them what local properties are selling for. 20 years ago you couldn't do that. You didn't have that type of access, whereas now you do, so nothing's stopping you.
Right, fantastic. One of the questions that I'd love to know is, how do you know what to sell your property for? How do you know what price to put on it?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question, and something, I guess, one of the most common ones we definitely get with people. A couple of different ways to do this. I think one thing I definitely find is that most people really have a good idea of probably what their property's worth. A lot of times is what I find is people will then have a couple of agents maybe come out and see them, but they've usually got a number in their head that they think their property's worth, because people usually do a fair bit of research when it comes to this. They're looking online, they're checking out what their neighbours' properties have been selling for and things like that, so they get a bit of an understanding. So a good way to do it is, obviously, you can get agents to come out and give you appraisal, but obviously they can be skewed or biased towards trying to get your listing. So you do need to keep that in mind.
And that also too is just a guesstimate as well.
Yeah.
Agents only give appraisals unless they're licensed valuers. They can't give you a proper valuation on your property. So it's always just an educated guess.
Right.
Exactly right. Yeah, and that's where it brings us to the next point. A great way to, if you want a really accurate idea of what your property's worth, is to get a licensed valuer to come out and give you an appraisal that way. It's obviously the most accurate way you can do it, to give you a number of what you can actually expect to get for that property.
Yeah, I think.
And another great way.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I think that's what I've heard before is, clients going with particular agents, in my experience, because they promised them they could get this much, but really it was just so they could get the listing, and then they end up selling it for what they wanted to anyway. So yeah, I see your point about making sure, you've got a licensed valuation and don't just go with someone because they say they can give you the highest price.
That's it. And another really easy way for people to to price their property or to see what they could potentially get before they even put it on the market and see whether it's actually worthwhile selling in that current market is to look on realestate.com.au, look on Domain. Don't actually look at what properties like yours are up for sale for. Look at what properties like yours have recently sold for. So you could see a property online for sale for $1 million and think, oh, my property's worth $1 million. No, that's what the person's hoping they'll achieve. You need to look and see what recent properties have sold for that are comparable to yours to get a good indication to see what the market is willing to pay. So that's another easy way to do it without even having to get an agent round to your house.
Awesome.
Yeah, and something that I was going to something that you know, I definitely suggest to people as well is, look, go out and do your own due diligence. You know, go out and inspect properties in the market that are currently for sale similar to yours. Get a feel for what the agents are saying, how many people are attending the opens, and you know how your property actually compares to that. And that'll really arm you with some, you know, fantastic information.
Yeah, because you listen to what other people are saying at those opens as well. You'll hear people saying, going, wow, this seems like really good value, or, oh, well, this one looks a little bit overpriced, or like, you know, just be really aware of what's going on around you, and you'll get a pretty good idea of what the market's like and what they're willing to pay.
Awesome, fantastic tips, guys. I love that. And are there any downsides of selling it yourself? There must be some. What are the negatives if people try and do it themselves?
There are.
Yeah, definitely. Look, there's some people that probably take the wrong approach when they do this, and this is what lets them down. In the past, obviously, when people think about selling properties privately and things like that, I guess that's in that similar space to what we're in. They took a very, I guess, amateurish approach to it. And when I say that, you know, they were just trying to, you know, stick a for sale sign up on their front yard and just hoping that the buyers would come past and they'd pay them a great price. And you're probably really naive to think that that's going to happen, because look, over 90% of buyers now are going to search for the next property. That's usually on realestateanddomain.com.au. So if you don't have your property listed on those major websites, you're really doing, I guess, yourself and your property a real disservice, because you're not opening yourself up to, you know, that huge amount of exposure that the local agents are able to provide. So as long as you put your property in the right places, which is, I guess, where we can come into it, because we're agents ourselves, we provide that service to our clients, and I guess we can level up that playing field for people where that's a mistake I guess we would notice people would make in the past. They wouldn't do that.
I think one of the other big downfalls for people is really, I mean, we're all about saving money, but sometimes you need to spend money to make money. And so people try to do it really on the cheap. They don't want to spend, you know, a couple of $100s on getting professional photos, which if we had to recommend using anything when selling your property, professional photos are definitely it. For the price that it costs and the impact that it makes on your listing, it can't be underestimated. So people try to do it really cheaply and think that they're going to achieve a fantastic outcome, and that's often a downfall that we see with a lot of people. Also to not wanting to advertise it on the major real estate sites where people are looking, and thinking maybe just an ad in a local paper or a buy, swap and sell site online will find them a buyer. And it might find them a buyer, but it's not going to find them maybe 3 or 4 buyers that then are going to fight it out amongst each other to pay that top price. So yeah, there's definitely ways to do it right and ways that people can do it wrong.
Good. And I guess, how do you guys help people sell your homes? What is your role? How do you help?
I guess our role is as agents, so we're exactly the same as any local agents out there. So what we do, we provide people with all the advertising and marketing they need, which is exactly the same as a local agent, so that we, number one, just so that we get the exact same exposure as what you get if you use one of those guys, so that we have the same amount of people turning up to be open for inspections and interested in your home. So that's the first part of the sale, is all about attracting the buyers. The second part, I guess, is the part where we can come in, and that's where we help our clients through the whole process. So when it comes to teaching them how to do their open for inspections, setting their asking price correctly so that we get that part right from the start, dealing with buyers. So, you know, we teach people how to, how to chat with the buyers, how to greet them, the questions they're likely to get asked at open for inspections, because they're generally always the same. So we can, you know, arm people with that information so they feel really confident at that point of the sale. And then obviously the big part of what we do, we help people negotiate their sale price. Obviously we're not doing that for them, but through doing this hundreds of times with people, we've become very good at that. We get a really good feel for the property, and you know, we can always help people achieve an amazing price if we can, I guess, provide them that service at that end point of the sale. They can achieve some absolutely awesome results.
Excellent. And so I guess the other thing is once you've found a buyer and they've accepted, what's the next steps in the process? Where does it go to from there?
This is the easy part, actually. This is the
Yeah.
part that people are usually most scared of
Yeah.
because it is the legal side of it, but it actually runs exactly the same as it would with your normal agent, pretty much. So everyone has to, well, they don't have to, but we always recommend that you use a licensed conveyancer or solicitor. Because you are dealing with contracts, you want to make sure you are covered. Unless you've done this before by yourself conveyancing, we usually recommend that you find yourself a reputable conveyancer or solicitor.
Yeah, to look after that part for you.
Yeah.
I mean, and you obviously, so your solicitor or conveyancer, if you're New South Wales or where, where obviously where we're both located, they're going to draw up the contract of sale for you. When it comes to the point where we've actually got a buyer for the property and we've obviously helped you agree on, on a great price for your home, in our owner to expert kit that we provide people, we've got a solicitor or conveyancer advice form. You fill in that form with, your info, your buyer's info, the buyer's conveyancer info. We then send that to your solicitor or conveyancer, and from that point on, they're able to then have all the information they need to start exchanging a contract. So they look after all that part for you. They'll advise you what needs to happen with deposit monies and everything like that. So that's the reason we pay those guys.
Yeah. Your solicitor or conveyancer deals with the buyer's solicitor or conveyancer. So once you've got that offer in that's been accepted and any terms within the contract as well, such as settlement periods, or if you might be leaving some furniture behind that they're going to take is drawn into the contract, then it's the two solicitors that deal with each other. So New South Wales, you have to have a contract of sale drawn up before you list your property for sale. In Queensland, you don't get the contract drawn up until you've actually got an offer on the property. And in WA, they use settlement agents, so it's the buyer that actually gets the contract, the ball rolling for that. So it works differently in different states. So we always recommend to our clients that they, even before the whole process, they find a conveyancer or solicitor and chat with them first, especially just to know what they're going to charge them as well for the whole process.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm learning lots today. That's great because I personally have always been a little bit hesitant about that legal side and what happened. So that's cleared it up. You guys make it really easy. You give a template and make it easy. So that's fantastic. Is there anything else that you'd like to be able to share with us today or any final thoughts?
I guess for me, definitely, look, it's really not a scary or hard process. I mean, a lot of people assume that the agents are absolute professionals at what they do and, they've got these amazing negotiation techniques and things like that. And look, some of them do.
Yeah, there's definitely some good agents out there.
There's a lot that don't as well. And the thing that a lot of people don't realise is that if you bought a property from an agent, you've actually negotiated with an agent then. So a lot of people assume that they can't do that part when selling, but if you put yourself in a position where, have you bought a property, Adele?
Yes, I have. Yes.
Have you bought a property? You have, yep. So, and when you bought your property, did you negotiate with that agent on the price that you wanted to pay?
I did. Yes, my husband left that all to me.
You did. Oh, there we go. So this is the point exactly that I'm trying to make. So would you feel comfortable negotiating with a buyer if you were selling a property?
Yeah.
Does that make you feel a little bit more uneasy?
It does. You're exactly, I'd never thought of it like that. That makes perfect sense. It's the same process. It's just flipped.
And the best thing actually when you're the person selling is that you're the one that kind of has the upper hand because you're selling something that somebody else wants. And if you have an emotional buyer, then that's when they're going to maybe show their cards a little bit earlier than what they normally would. And we find also too, it's more of an honest transaction when it's the seller of the home and a buyer because they're not thinking an agent's trying to trick them. And a lot of our clients say to us, they go, we don't want to trick people into getting more than what the property's worth. We just want to sell it for,
It's true value.
Yeah, it's true value kind of thing. So it's, I think it's a much nicer process actually when the owner and the buyer are involved. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I guess, one thing I would, sorry, you're right, Adele.
You go, mate.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, one thing I would like to point out for people, I think a lot of people get freaked out by the idea of negotiating, think, we've got to do it face-to-face and oh, geez, that's going to be intimidating and what am I going to do? And look, it's not the way it happens. It really isn't. I mean, I'm sure if you've gone to buy a property, a lot of, the people out there watching probably been in a position where an agent said, but they've wanted to put in an offer, an agent said, oh, look, that's great. Can you submit that to me, via email or via writing and I'll take it to, to the vendor or to the owner. And that's exactly what we tell our clients to do. It doesn't need to be hard. It doesn't need to be a high-pressure situation. The buyer's interested in your home. We tell you exactly what to say to them as far as that might be. Oh, look, thanks very much. Out of respect to all interested parties who've got interest in the property, we're asking everybody to submit their best offers to us via email, and we'll discuss it and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And by doing it that way, it takes all the pressure out of the situation for not only you if you're negotiating, but also for your buyer. But then it also allows our clients then to obviously receive the offer and then to give us a call and talk to us about, what the offer is. Is it enough? Do we need to try and get to counter offer to try and get them to a higher point?
Fantastic. Now, if people want to know more about you, you guys have a free Facebook group that people can join. Now, we're going to chuck the link in our Project 52 group, but just want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, our Facebook group is called Sell Your Own Home Australia. So that's just for anyone that's actually interested in the process, whether they're looking at selling their home now or maybe in the next 12 months. It's really a tool to get people prepared, because we think that's the main thing that will really help you through the sale, is knowing, like Daniel always uses the analogy, if someone gave you a textbook and said, here, look at this, study for the next 2 weeks, and then I'll give you a test, as opposed to just giving you the test straight up, you're going to feel 10 times more comfortable if you've had time to prepare. And so that's pretty much why we created this book, is so people can ask questions.
The group. Yeah.
Sorry, the group, because this is why people ask these questions, and they their fears are allayed a little bit, and then they can see other people in the group that are going through the whole process, ask them how they're doing as well. So it's just pretty much sharing your experience with everyone else.
Yeah, people just like you who are thinking about it. Maybe they've sold already, they're going through the process, or they're thinking about it. Just a very low pressure situation where you can just get in there, have fun, enjoy. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. It's not about selling or doing anything like that.
It's not a pitch fest.
It's just about helping people where we can.
Oh, fantastic. I wanted to thank you guys so much for your time today. Us at Project 52 really appreciate it. You guys are on track by 2020 to be able to save $20 million worth of commission, and I know you guys are going to get there. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem, Adele. And also for all your Project 52 members, if they do want to find out any more about selling their own home, they can jump onto our website. We have a 7 steps to sold guide, and that pretty much takes them through the whole process from start to finish on how it works. And they're more than welcome to download that and have a look through that all that information.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Daniel.
No worries, Adele. Thank you. Bye.